Kia ora, raru, 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 mai rā, ko Joe Takawingoa, te wiki o te reo Māori. Greetings all, and I'm Joey Wheeler, and this week it's Māori Language Week, so there's no better man to welcome on here to have a wee kōrero, and being Māori Language Week, I thought I'd get the hot stepper and fluent Māori speaker Nehe Milner-Skudder to join us. Kia ora, Nehe. Kia koe te wā.
Kia ora rau, te tuakana Joey. Ka mau kei te wehi. Kia koe i o kōrero ki te whakawāti e tēnei hui hui me ki. Me hoki ki te whakanui ki te tautoko i tēnei wiki tino whakahirahira mō Aotearoa, mō te ao katoa, te wiki o te reo Māori. Nā reira, ka nui ngā mihi kia koe, brother. Kia ora everyone. Thanks for the intro, bro, and obviously a special week, this week being Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, so it's awesome to be able to celebrate it and just keep pushing it out there, keep speaking our beautiful language and embracing all the good things about it, bro. So absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Nehe. And I know it is a busy week ahead of NPC starting back up again, and your role with the Turbos this year, mate. Obviously, the Turbos boys must be pretty pumped being back into training and seeing everyone rather than being locked down in your houses.
Yeah, bro, it is. We were back in last week on Wednesday and had a few days training, and it was awesome for the boys to finally come back together. It felt like it had been a very long 3 weeks, just jumping in between a few Zoom meetings here and there. So the boys were here absolutely fizzing last week, and to be back in again this week, it's awesome, bro, just to get back into some sort of sense of normality, chucking the ball around, getting a bit of banter happening and getting into some footy.
Now, your role in the team this year, Turbos, you're not just a player, you're also helping out with the coaching staff. How have you found that transition, bud?
Yeah, it's been a cool transition, bro. Unfortunately, I haven't got a role in selections. Otherwise, I've been putting my name at the top of the list or in the mix for sure. But nah, bro, it's been good. I've sort of played some sort of mentoring, helping out sort of role in some of the teams over the past few years, and it's not too, I guess, dissimilar to what I've been doing in the past. Just trying to help coaches out with strategy and just get alongside the boys and just trying to help where I can. We've got a lot of young, fresh talent in Manawatu this year. So me being a little bit older, a bit wiser, been around the traps for a wee while. It's cool to sort of impart as much knowledge and just help out where I can, bro.
Is that a sort of a look towards the future for you, Nehe, in terms of your next step post rugby, whenever that may be, whenever you hang up the boots, that you'd like to chuck the whistle
on? I haven't put too much thought into it, to be honest. I guess just the role that I sort of took up as a type of player that just wants to be, heavily involved in the strategy and sort of game plan for the coming weeks, reviewing games, get alongside the coaches, just to, I guess, see how I can get better and just try and come up with little parts to add to the game, and probably just more around the mentoring space as well. Just talking through some of the things that I've gone through and helping boys deal with that sort of pressure that comes with playing footy for us. So yeah, who knows, bro? I'm still keen to keep the boots on for now and keep trucking. So we'll see how we go.
For you, a proud Manawatu man and a proud Turbo. That's where it all started for you. I want to take you back to when it all did start in the Turbos jersey and how that came about. Was it under Dave Rennie's tutelage that you sort of came into that squad?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, under Ren's back in 2011. We're rewinding the clock quite a fair way back, but I'm still lucky that there's plenty of boys that are still going around and keeping us old timers alive and pumping. Dave Rennie was one, bro. He was the head coach there, and Jason O'Halloran, Bogues, some people know him as his nickname. Those are two, I guess, pretty awesome coaches that, for me, getting kick-started into rugby and helping grow my game and my knowledge and understanding of things, they were massive, bro, and also had heaps of incredible players around me at the time, the likes of Johnny Leota, Craig Clare, or a couple of other fellas, Aaron Smith and Aaron Cruden, who were pretty gunny at that time. And yeah, bro, I was pretty blessed to have a whole heap of support networks around me in terms of coaching and players that helped me, get into things.
In terms of careers, you'd probably say that you're a bit of a slow burn in terms of your career. You started in 2011, but probably rose to prominence in 2015. That's when you made your Hurricanes debut. Do you think, like in terms of that, do you think that set you up pretty well to springboard into that year, or were you surprised at how quickly it happened in terms of that 2015 season?
Yeah, a bit of both, bro. Like I definitely, found it like benefited from taking a little bit longer to sort of progress through the levels. To have sort of, I think it was 3 or 4 seasons at NPC before going up into like the Hurricanes wider training group, and then that following year getting my first crack. That sort of gave me like a better understanding and like an appreciation of sort of toiling away for a few years, then finally getting a crack. But then on the flip side of that, bro, everything happened so fast that 2015 year that was kind of a bit of a whirlwind year. And I always tell people I was sort of just riding a roller coaster that whole year with Super Rugby and things that cracked on from there.
Well, you went to the World Cup and then became Breakthrough Player of the Year, World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year, and obviously won a World Cup. Then, obviously, 2016, some injuries and sort of forced your hand. How hard was that for you to deal with? Obviously, from the highs of a World Cup final, winning a World Cup, to then, obviously, we all know as rugby players how hard being injured is. How did you find that dealing with that after such an awesome year in 2015?
Yeah, it was bloody tough, bro. And thank you for not bringing up that Super Rugby final, which it was a pretty important game that year.
I
So
mate, everyone knows
appreciate
it
that, bro.
anyway. So.
We'll move past that. We'll move past that, and we'll go on to 2016. Yeah, that was hard. Like you say, coming off the back of 2015 and having some pretty incredible highs, and then for that to sort of result in injury that following year, my goals and mindset heading into 2016 was to try and back that 2015 year up. There's sort of like a saying or a term around that second year syndrome, and try not to make that rookie year fluke and improve on it, bro. And so yeah, to be out injured for that whole year was bloody tough. It was my first major injury. Prior to that, I'd had sort of just little niggles out for a couple of weeks and that, but to miss a whole season, man, was real tough. Got into some pretty dark places. Struggled heaps, just wanting to be out there with the boys training, want to be out there playing, and just having some fun. And for me to not be able to do that, bro, I really struggled. But I also learnt, a whole lot about myself in terms of dealing with setbacks and putting things into perspective, bro. Some good strategies that helped me, obviously, for a few years down the track when things started to snowball again. So it was sort of a blessing in disguise, bro. It was bloody tough at the time, definitely struggled, but also, took some little gems out of there, and there were some silver linings that have helped me further on down the track.
In terms of, I know it's a pretty pertinent issue at the moment around mental health, and especially in our rugby players and our athletes in general. Why do you think athletes at the top level do have those struggles? Because I think people looking in would say you guys are living your dream. You're well paid. You get to hang out with your mates every day. But do they have the tools? And what do you think we can do better to prepare these athletes for those setbacks like you had in your second year of Super Rugby?
Bro, yeah, real topical issue. Great question. Awesome that there is starting to be more conversations around it. From my perspective, bro, for me personally, I reckon what I found was just tying my identity to rugby. And so, when I didn't have rugby, when I was injured, suddenly I felt really crap as a person. Um, and then I've, spoken to other people around, if you have a bad game of rugby, suddenly you're a crap person, which bro, totally is complete nonsense. But then we're also faced with that, in this day and age with social media and everyone commenting online. Like if you have a bad game, then everyone just gets stuck into you, and suddenly you're a crap person, bro. Which shouldn't be happening. And so the more we can sort of have that, people talk about balance, not putting all our time and energy into rugby. I mean, yeah, have a plan and want to achieve all those great things, be an All Black, be a Black Fern, play for your Super Rugby team, go on and do all those incredible things. But that's just, one part of you. That's not your whole, be all and end all. And so I think, yeah, just trying to groom our young female and male athletes, rugby players around bigger things outside of rugby. So, if rugby doesn't go to plan, then okay, sweet, I've got these other things in place that I can put my time and energy, and I still know my self-worth. I still feel valued, and I still feel good as a human being.
When you are giving advice to these young athletes that you got at the Turbos around these things, what sort of tools are you trying to, or education are you trying to help them with, so that they can deal with the disappointment of selection or injuries or all that stuff online? Is it basically making sure you surround yourself with good people, or is it helping them normalize having those tough conversations with either your coach or your teammates? Is that the real key to this?
Oh, bro, yeah, it's hard just to pinpoint it on just the one key thing. It's such a complex issue, bro, and we all have our own upbringings and backgrounds and understanding on certain situations. So it's sort of it's a case by case basis. But like you say, bro, normalizing conversations. The more we can talk about things, we can't read each other's minds. Trying to normalize that thing around failure as well. I think we get worried about failing because we're worried about what other people are going to say. Sorry, I've just got my dog's Woodamoose head popping up. Um, Normalizing conversations, not being too quick to judge. Like, yeah, bro. Usually, people that are throwing stick to others, like they're not in a better place than you. They've got their own stuff happening as well. So it's a complex one, bro. But I think by continuing these conversations, bringing more awareness, bringing strategies and educational tools, will go a long way, I reckon.
Oh, thanks so much for your time, Nehe. We really appreciate you giving us a little bit of your insight into the game, not only as a rugby player and a coach now, but also the work you do with our younger athletes around the mental side of the game, because we do know it is so pertinent at the moment and so important that we do look after our mental health. So thank you for all the work you do in that part of our game as well, brother.
Nah, awesome, bro. Thanks, Joey. Always awesome to chat, brother. And yeah, pleasure to jump on and have a little yarn and yeah, have a good quarter, bro. So yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, bro.
Kia ora, brother. Love your work.